Hey, Rockstars, welcome to another No Bullshit podcast for contractors. I've got my man, Tim Riley, with me today, and we are going to go deep with answering some of your questions. How do we, find people and hire and build an A team? How do we go about pricing our jobs profitably? How did he, go about actually increasing his profits, increasing his sales, but yet doing the same amount of work? That's what we're going to be covering on today's No Bullshit podcast for contractors. Stay tuned, get your pen and pencil ready. We're going to be giving you tactics that you can apply right away. No bullshit. See you on the flip side.
Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class. They call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit podcast for contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life.
All right, Rockstars, welcome to another No Bullshit podcast for contractors. To all you rock stars out there, I've got a special guest with me today who's had tremendous progress on his contracting business, and we're going to cover off aspects around making more profits, how he got a six-figure business, how things have improved on the hiring front for him, and a lot of different areas. Welcome, Tim. How's it going, buddy?
Great, going great.
Good. Where are you located?
I'm in Nelson, BC.
Wicked. That's beautiful, beautiful area, right?
Oh, I love it out here. Yeah.
It's God's country, man. Literally, it's God's country. So tell us a little bit about your business, and then let's get right into, this No Bullshit podcast so we can share some golden nuggets so others can benefit as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I am a residential home builder. We build houses from the ground up, provide general contracting services. My team normally takes on the structural aspects of the house, and then I hire out subtrades like electrical, plumbing, roofing, that kind of thing. And then, I specialize in timber framing. So, like what you see behind me here, timber structures, and we put it into houses, and we do carports and outdoor living structures and decks and you name it.
Cool, man. Awesome. Love it. Let's get right into this as far as, when you came to Prof for Contractors, just give the audience a bit of the pain points, some of the struggles that you had before PFC.
I guess I signed up because I was just, felt like I was turning the gears and not really getting anywhere, and 12 years into the business and wasn't really making a profit. And I just felt like I wanted some help. I started going to the gym to be better physically. And then that's actually what spurred me to think, if I'm getting help in this area of my life, I gotta, there's gotta be a way to get help with the business. And so, that's how I found you guys.
I love it, man. And listen, this is a great comparison. You think about going to the gym. I've started running again. I signed up to a race for the end of the month because my wife's like, you gotta, Andrew, it's all about setting goals with you. If you set a goal, you go after it. If you don't, then you don't. But, when you look at going to the gym, it's similar in a lot of different ways, right? Which is you don't go there and it's a quick fix, right? No. It takes time, right? It's a little bit painful in the beginning, isn't it?
It's still painful now, but I love it.
Yeah. That's good, man. We always have to love the pain, as an entrepreneur.
Oh, totally.
Like seriously, let's face it, right? We got challenges, even though we're going to be talking about how your business now is going to a six-figure and how it's more profitable and all these things. I want everybody to know that literally this is the No Bullshit podcast. And I don't want to bullshit you. This is to tell you is that, even for Prof for Contractors, right? This is like the third business that we've systematized. And we're systematizing your business. There's always, as an entrepreneur, there's always going to be challenges, right?
100%. Yeah.
It's just, which ones are we going to be or, do we have to deal with? Which ones can we get rid of? And we end up dealing with different challenges. I think more and more challenges that we're willing and wanting to face versus the bullshit stuff. Like one of the things, let's talk about it, was delegating, like for you, right? Where you had, let's talk in depth about that. Like you had a lot of hats that you were wearing. And one of the things we were able to work on with you is this thing called delegating. Some people think, oh, delegating, come on. Like, is that a big deal? Yeah, it is a big deal. It's a big, big struggle. So talk a little bit about that, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I guess before I joined PFC, I was a little down the road of delegating. I had a lead hand on my job site and I gave them tasks, but, I didn't really know what all I could give them. And after joining PFC, I realized like, oh man, there's this whole slew of things that I can give them. And, like material ordering, I was doing all that. And, even just the day-to-day stuff, I was constantly on the job site, just checking in. And, through learning, I realized that I could give him way more stuff, give him more responsibility, which he loved, he stepped up to. And then I was like, find myself at home working more on the business or estimates or getting customers or, you name it. And like, I go to the job site now, like once or twice a week. That's it. It's great.
I love it. So, these sessions, these, I call them these sessions. It's interesting. It's a freaking podcast. And yet I call it a session because I still always have the coaching hat on, as you know, right? Like I can't resist. So this is a coaching moment, everybody listening in. I want to give you guys some strategies. So a couple of things that, Tim, you can help me out with this. Let's turn you into my co-coach. Okay, bro. So One of the things that we did was this principle of making sure that we have the right level of awareness. In other words, if we don't write a list of all the things that we're doing, okay, if we don't audit, just like the government, which I dread, for anybody out there that's had to deal with this, but we have to audit our time. So, Tim, one of the things that, we did with you was to get clarity of that was not a complicated exercise, but really start identifying like, what are all the things that you do in a week, right?
Mm-hmm, totally.
Right. And it became obvious that like all of a sudden it really adds up. These small things are actually turn into big things like ordering material, right? Going out to the job sites like that took up hours and hours and hours of your week, did it not?
Oh, totally. Like just going to the job site, I live rurally. So, a lot of my job sites are half an hour, 45 minutes away. And by the time I get there and check in and get home, half a day is gone. Boom.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So first thing, any listener dialing into this, you got to audit your time. Either you're going to do it by reflecting on, day by day, starting today, where you're putting your time. If you want to be even simpler with this, it's not going to be as accurate, but you can just write a list of all the things that you do. And especially the things that come to mind that are lower skill type of tasks, right? So it's not that they're not important tasks, like delivering material, picking up material. That's really, really important, right? Like that has to happen in order for a job site to keep moving forward. But Tim, the value of your time is much greater than that.
Oh, 100%. I realized just getting materials to site for me to go pick them up, load up the truck, get them to the site or whatever, it's way more worth me paying $95 for the lumber yard to load it up and drop it right on the job site. Like saves tons of money right there.
Totally. And when you say saves tons of money, so here's the concept, guys. This is sort of like part 2 of this. One of the ways of let go of something. And Tim, I'm sure you struggled, maybe not with this particular task as far as, picking up and delivering material, but there was tasks. I know there's tasks for me that I've handed over that I struggled a bit, in handing over and letting go of them. Okay. And there's lots of different reasons, maybe it's because of just playing control. Okay. Maybe it's just that we don't trust that the person is going to be able to do it. Maybe we just want to do it so that we can procrastinate and not do some of the important things that we got to do. But whatever it is, the second phase to this, guys, is that you got to replace it with something. So what were some of the things that are higher value that you, just one or two things that you replaced that, spending that time doing? What did you replace it with?
I replaced it with sales calls or doing estimates.
Right.
And the higher end, getting the work.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I'm going to add this one to the plate. You tell me if I'm right or wrong, but you also applied it to learning more. You applied it more, to working on the business, to, becoming more efficient and effective at your pricing and things of that nature, correct?
Yeah, totally. 100%.
And I think that let's just think about this. You were at like 750K for the longest time. Now you're going to be breaking $1 million and you're 750K basically not making much money, right?
Oh, no profit. Last year I was actually in a loss. So,
okay. Yeah. So everybody listening in, I want you to get this. Okay. Tim, first of all, was willing to get the help, and whether or not you're willing to get the help or not, okay, from somebody else, you have to be willing to help yourself. So if you're listening on this podcast, just do these couple of simple exercises, write the list, determine what you got to delegate, then determine, roughly how much time that's going to save you. And then you can identify what's some higher value things that you can do. Now, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're now way, way more profitable than you have been. And your sales have gone up. Yeah. And you're not having to do these things. Am I full of bullshit here or what?
Oh yeah, totally. 100%. Like you said a little earlier, it's not perfect, still figuring things out, but yeah, there are days where I find myself like, I have some time now. What do I do? Where before I was just running. I was go, go, go. So
yeah, it's interesting. You're now approaching a phase in your business where you're now making profits, approaching in the hundreds of thousands of dollars versus being in the negative. And now you're able to have more time on your hands. You're able to have more money in the bank account, and literally you're able to have more control of your business. True?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Even just the more money in the bank account, the stress that's gone, I don't worry about covering payroll. I don't worry about paying the bills. I do all that stuff and there's still money. It blows my mind.
How stressful was it, bud?
It was honestly covering payroll was the biggest stress on me. All my guys, they're family guys, they got kids, they got mouths to feed. And it just would stress me out to be like, oh man, where am I getting this money? And, trying to get a deposit in or trying to get money from somewhere or racking up my credit card, right full to do these things. It sucked.
Yeah, big time. So we talked about delegation, talked about replacing with higher value tasks. One of the things that you definitely put effort in on was pricing profitably, right? One of the things that I think was a big aha moment when you started going through some of the training and the templates and the tools. You tell me, what was some aha moments of where there was holes in your pricing?
The biggest aha moments came when I started back costing or checking the actuals versus what I estimated and seeing where the holes were, being like, oh man, I only estimated half the time on that project, or, I missed the nails and the screws and the glue and all the little things that, oops, didn't think of them, but there's a couple grand on, a big project, and
that adds up.
Totally. Yeah.
Here's the thing, everybody listening in, you can't change what you don't know. I'll say that again. I'll put it even a different way. You can't change what you don't measure. So if you're not measuring, guys, how you're, if you don't have these principles of how to quote jobs profitably, here's my little tip. Again, be my co-coach. Okay. If you don't compare what actually goes on to what you had estimated, what's the problem with that, Tim?
You just don't know what you're doing wrong. There's no gauge. There's no real roadmap into the future.
Totally. Right. So that applies to material. And guys, I want to go deep in this. Okay. Deep, but we can do it in a very short period of time. So guys, comparing actual to estimated is not only going to help you, it helps you become a way better and proficient at pricing your jobs, right? So to know whether or not you're on or off from accuracy around your labor, around your material, okay, around the miscellaneous things, around your subs, around all the different permits, everything, right? Because if you don't compare what's actually going on, guys, you're never ever going to truly know if you're on target or not. Okay. So that's part one of this. Part two of this, tell me again if I'm on or off here, Tim, is determining which jobs are profitable and which ones aren't. Give us the insights to be able to know what types of work should we focus more in on, what types of customers should we focus more in on, and which ones we shouldn't. Okay. Mm-hmm. Also, it tells us a lot of insights on our team, or it could be, and your team could involve employees as well as subs. Tell me a little bit about your experience you had with that.
Oh man. Yeah. I guess it was huge. It's just going back and looking at everything. And, honestly, at the start, I hated it. I was scared to back cost. I'd be like, oh God, I knew I lost money, but I didn't want to see where or why. But after a while of doing it, I realized, okay, no, it was like, I only estimated half the labor, and realizing like, okay, my guys can only go so fast, even with, some tools that have been put in front of them. I just need to estimate more to be realistic. Yeah.
And here's the thing, everybody listening in, Tim's sales are up. Like, people might be thinking, come on, Tim, you're full of shit. Like, how are your sales up, Tim? If you've had to increase your pricing, if you've had to increase these different holes and plug them, how is that possible? And what would your response to that be?
Well, if I understand what you're saying properly, my sales are up because I'm making more money on each job. I'm not necessarily doing more work because I have the same amount of people on my crew. I'm just making more money. So, there's more, I'm making the profit. There's more money in the bank.
Guys, this is a huge paradigm shift. In other words, a mental shift that I want everybody to listen in on. Okay. When it comes to improving and increasing your profits and increasing your sales, it doesn't necessarily always mean that you have to get more business. You might be like, what did he say? I'm deadly serious. Okay. So here's the thing is, guys, you could do, and this is just an example, right? You could do $3 million at 5%. You could do $2 million at 15%, right? You could do $1 million at 30 points. You know what the funny thing is, guys? The net profit is all the same in all those. Or you could do what Tim did, which is even better, which is actually increase your sales while you increase your actual sales number, but not actually increase the amount of work that you do while you're increasing your profits. Like, guys, it's highly, highly possible. And you know what, Tim, why do you think your clients are willing to pay more?
I think through putting better systems in place and providing better value, I can show it to them and they're willing to pay me to do the job versus, some dude that comes in and scrawls a number on a piece of paper and, beat up pickup truck. And, I don't know, that's a guess, but I think it's mostly the value I bring to the table. And that's why they're willing to pay. More.
The fact that you use the word bringing more value to the table means that you're actually recognizing that you're bringing more value. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when you recognize it, people recognize it in you because your language changes. How you present yourself changes. Your confidence changes. The systems that you show them changes. It's a whole value journey that you start laying out for these people. And people are buying things, guys, based upon value. Okay. Like if you're a contractor out there and the reason that people deal with you is because you're the cheapest, I'm going to tell you right now, that is the worst fucking strategy you can ever have. Agreed, Tim?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Just by charging more, I've actually got rid of a lot of the D clients. People won't even look at me. They're just like, well, nope, forget it, too much. And yeah, move on.
Love it. Love it, man. Let's talk about the hiring side of things and employees. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about how you've made out with, on the hiring side and building an A team.
So this is more of a recent thing, like just 6 weeks ago, I brought on a new lead hand. And before that, truth be told, I was scared. I was avoiding. I didn't know what to do, even though I'd gone through the training with Jay on how to hire and how to find the guys. It just, when it came to it, I was like, oh my God, what do I do? But I reached out to one of the coaches, and they gave me some tools, gave me a way to get the A player, like how to word the ad to get the A player. I put that out there, and then all of a sudden I was getting flooded with people. And I was like, holy, this is awesome. And it came down, I funneled it down to 3 people, 3 guys that I could pick. And ultimately after the interviews, there was one guy I really wanted, just great attitude, would fit with the team culture. I really wanted him, but the one sticking point with him was that he wanted a little more money. So I upped the wage and boom, I got him. It was great. It was just kind of like eyes wide open process where I went from literally hiding from it, not knowing what to do, to like, holy crap, I just landed like this A player that, like got him onboarded. And 6 weeks later, I'm like back to going to the job site once or twice a week.
Guys, listen in on this. Okay. Like there is a recipe. Okay. There is, and Tim, again, my co-coach, there's a process to this, right? Like hiring people, putting an ad out there, the wording of the ad, how you onboard them, the interview process, the application for, like, all these different steps is an actual process. Like, it's in all honesty, everybody listening in, you either have to learn and implement a hiring process, almost like you're a professional recruiter, okay? Or better, because if you just go about it ad hocly, like most people do, I got to put an ad out there. And then Tim, guess what I hear all the time? There's nobody out there. Nobody's responding to my ads, right? Tim, you've heard that, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right. So, what would you say to people that are listening in on this going, come on, man, he just got lucky. Rewording the ad and having a process. Come on. Does that really matter?
There was actually no luck involved in it, because I had started putting out some ads and some like things on Facebook and stuff before I reached out, and nobody was reaching out. And I was kind of thinking the same thing and listening to, my peers or whatever. And, man, nobody out there. But as soon as I followed the steps and put the process in place, I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, what's everyone talking about? This is easy. Like,
dude, that's like, so guys, you're in a position right now, and I'm just going to be straight up honest. Is there a hiring shortage? Like, is there a shortage of skilled tradespeople out there and laborers and stuff like that? Yes, there is. Okay. But here's the goal. Your competition. Okay. All listeners, your competition, 90% of them do not have a hiring process. 90% of them do not know how to write an ad. Okay. And so you actually have a huge advantage. Okay. And 90% of them, I know I'm using a high number, but it's the fact, because we deal with like 90% of people that come knocking on our door. This is their mindset, right? They're like, I can't find anybody. There's nobody good out there. And you hear it over and over and over. They apply these things, and next thing you know, they start to build an A team. Okay. The reason for it is because a couple of things. One, I have already mentioned it. Okay. You've got to have a hiring process. So that's number one. Number two, there is a lot of skilled players out there, A players out there, that are working for contractors. And you know what, Tim, you and I haven't had this chat about the person you hired, have we?
The person?
Yeah, the new lead hand.
No.
Okay. All right. So let's put this to a test. So this might backfire on me, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Was the lead hand working for somebody?
Yeah, he was actually. I got him. I had to wait a couple of weeks to get him on board because he was in another job.
Thank you very much, sir. So everybody listening in, like, how to steal your competitors' tradespeople ethically. Were you ethical about it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yes, guys, ethically. Okay. Was he working for somebody else? Yes, he was. Okay. Like, he had a hand in his notice. You can tell he was a good guy because, hey, I got to give this guy, I got to give my current employer, a certain amount of notice, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. Okay. But guys, he came to Tim because Tim was offering something in his ad that he wasn't getting at his current employer. Do you have any of those highlighted? Is there one or two things that you could highlight as to why did this guy leave?
I think it was because, I don't know exactly, but the way I worded my ad, and he is a family guy himself and trying for another baby. And one of the things I put in my ad was that we're family oriented, we got a good work culture, just aimed it towards like making it a good place for the employee. What I see, and even before going through this process, what I see in ads is must have this, must have that, must have own car, must be willing to, whatever. And I was just like, man, who wants to work for a company like that? Like, instead of saying, hey, come on board, this is what we can give you. Right. This is what we can offer you.
You know what? I've never ever said this. I'm going to see if I can get the wording right. Okay, before we wrap this up. Every listener, take a look at the ads that are out there. Okay. And I'm going to say conservatively, like instead of 90%, I'm just going to be conservative and say 70% of the ads that are out there mainly talk about what the employer wants. Okay. So now I want you to think about that. So take a look, see if I'm full of shit. Okay. Take a look at these ads. Now what I want you to think about is this. If that is how the ad is placed and it's all about the employer, that's what the culture of the employer is. Say it again. If that is how the ads are placed and it's all about the, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need as an employer? Okay. As a company. Okay. Versus focusing in on here's what I can provide to the employees. That's the culture. So what does this means, guys, is that the majority of cultures that are out there in contracting spaces is not an employee-based culture. It's an employer-based culture. And that's a major, major issue. Okay. So if you don't want to, so you've got it. So one of the very first places that you got to start outside of this whole hiring process is your mindset. Tim, your mindset had to change, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah.
And what would you say was your mindset before you started to really learn this hiring process and realize like, hey, I got to really talk about what's in it for them?
Oh man. Well, like I said, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to attract that A player. Right. One of the things we worked on with my accountability coach too is just realizing that like, hey, I have a good business. I have somewhere that someone wants to come and work and, be for 8-10 hours a day. It was a huge mindset shift.
Yeah. And now you've attracted somebody that has that same mindset, right? So, what is, if you were to look at your team now, right? How would you describe your team? Like, are they a team that like you're proud of? Is it a team that like, you're like, you tell me.
Oh, 100%. I have a great team of guys. Like I have no qualms setting them up with a job and walking away and knowing that they're going to do a good job. And beyond that, they get along really well. Like that's part of what I tried to set up is to have a good company culture where like-minded people. And, maybe it sounds weird, but I don't have that typical like dude construction, smokes hanging out of their mouth, like, very respectful guys, family guys, like it's a nice place for them to be. And my customers, I think too, that like they have a good crew around them. They're not like, oh man, these guys are swearing like sailors and, don't care. And, I think my crew is great.
And here's the thing. I don't think before you came to PFC, and whether or not, look at all you listeners, raise your hand or don't raise your hand if you want to get help from us. Okay. I just hope that you're getting help through this podcast. Okay. That's what I'm hoping, that you're pausing it, that you're like, oh my God, I got something here and you're going to apply it. Okay. So here's my thing. Tim, I'm sure have never wanted to have a bad environment for your team. True?
No, never.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think most contractors want a bad environment for their team. I think that we just don't know how to do it differently, and, putting the right systems in place, delegating things to the right people. Your team wants you to be doing champion CEO things. They don't want you delivering material. Am I right?
Well, yeah, totally. Like I said earlier with delegating more and giving more to the lead hand. And I should specify it was my last lead hand, but the more I gave him, the more he leaned in, the more he engaged, the more he was the guy that was actually like, I'd be him and Han being like, oh, should I take a Friday off so I can go camping with my family? He'd be like, man, go, I got it. Like, don't worry about it,
Right.
Yeah.
So if you were to give, wrapping this up, if you were to give some advice to the listeners as far as like they're struggling to build this A team and find people, what would you say to them?
Oh, I think with the right tools and right systems in place, it's easy to do. You'll find it, and especially with PFC, with you guys, like the tools are there, the help is there. Like all I had to do was lean in and ask, and, literally within, I think it was a week, things changed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, things have changed over the course of time as far as your sales, your profits, your control. And, there's no magic. I don't want anybody thinking that there's a magic wand here. Okay. So Tim, is there anybody that couldn't apply these things?
I don't think so. I think you could have been running your own business for 30 years and learn stuff easy.
I totally agree with that. So I guess my sort of wrap up to this, or all the listeners, I can't stress enough that, there's a process. If the only thing you do is go get this book and follow the steps that are in here in the application form, and, how to, the critiques on your ads, and whether or not you want, whether or not you want to get the book or not, it's on Amazon. But my point is, slow down the speed up, everybody. I've said that many, many times. Take the podcast, slow it down, pick one thing. Okay. And I'm repeating myself from the last few podcasts because I really want people to get results out of this. Pick one thing and apply it. Okay. If that's the hiring part of it, if it's the pricing part of it, if it's the, being a leader part of it, like Tim has been, if it's the delegation part of it, pick one. Don't try and pick all of them. Okay. I'm going to guarantee you that's not going to work. But pick one of them. Pick the one that's the easiest, lowest hanging fruit, the one that you mentally are more apt to welcome, because, Tim, you and I know, man, we could have all the tools right in front of us. You'd have all the steps laid out. If our mind says, man, I'm not going to do it, then we don't do it. So pick one of those areas we talked about and do something about it. Okay. Default some time in your calendar. Okay. Pick, at least a couple of hours a week, minimum, where you're going to take some of the stuff and apply it, and just take it at your own pace. What do you think of that, Tim? That good advice or what?
Oh, it is great advice. Even through being with PFC and learning, I've done that myself. It's like, there's so much to learn, and, you kind of get ahead of yourself, but you realize you got to like stop, back up a little bit, relearn some things, put them in place. But yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
I love it, guys. We got and we got a hiring process. You can tap into that. We've opened up a new door for people that just specifically want to get some help on the hiring front. Raise your hand and we can help you on that as well, specific to that area. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. So welcome to having a great conversation with Tim and I, another No Bullshit podcast for contractors. Take action, slow down the speed up, and every single one of you can benefit from these things. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Later. Ciao.
Hey, rock stars, thank you for watching the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button. And if you're serious about growing and need help, click on the link below. Myself and my team would love to help and give you the necessary tools so you can take your contracting business to the next level. And remember, dominate, delegate, and deliver.